Greetings from Mel.
Greetings from Sim.
It is our pleasure to have you with us for another B.O.O.K podcast moment. B.O.K, our book, also known as Building Our Own Knowledge, is a co-created cloud for interrogating, finding, making, and sharing experiences and knowledge on our own terms.
This podcast is brought to you by the labor of love of B.O.O.K working group members Sim Mendes and Melisandre Varan. The music carrying us through is by B.O.O.K working group member and commissioned artist Samir Saunders. Samir brought their sonic waves to its final form by reading All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. We thank our loving ancestors for using our beings as vessels.
We hope you whine or wave with this DIY podcast as much as we do.
So hi everyone, Sim here, back again for the B.O.O.K podcast, B.O.O.K, Building Our Own Knowledge. I'm Sim, this is I and me. I am the B.O.O.K podcast producer and artist liaison, an occasional facilitator. I'm here with Mel, B.O.O.K's artist curator. Hello. And I'm here with Maria, aka Mimi, and we're like super excited to get into it, and we're so excited to have you here with us today. We're gonna do intros. I'm gonna throw it to you, Maria, first. So, who are you? And also, what's your big three signs? And what do you care about today?
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Maria. I go by the name of Mimi as well. I'm super happy to be here and to join this amazing podcast, so thank you so much for having me. I'm a transdisciplinary artist, but my main practice has been revolving around sound for the past 3 years as a DJ and as a sound artist. And I'm also a painter. Like, I studied fine arts at the academy, and I did a degree in a bachelor in painting, and then I quit. I didn't go through the master's, and I just started like exploring different things. So when you were saying my big three signs, like can you develop a bit more, because I didn't get that.
Yeah, so if you know your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising.
Yes, okay. So there's something very interesting about me, is like I'm into astrology, but at the same time, I don't know much about myself in that sense. Well, I did my birth chart once, and ever since it has been done, like I don't usually go back to it to refer to certain things. But I was born on November 22nd, which is a very epic moment, because from some calendars, that's when Sagittarius starts, and that's when the Scorpio ends. But I'm like really in between. I'm born at 7 p.m. and it's really at like the border. So I'm a little bit of a Scorpio and a Sagittarius, but more of a Scorpio, I guess, based on how I interact with the world and how other people experience my being. And my sun, I have no clue. I mean, I don't remember actually. I think it was, I know that the signs that came out in my birth chart were Gemini, because I was very shocked, because I have like 3 good friends and they're all 3 Geminis. So that I remember. And I think Capricorn at some point as well, because my mom was a Capricorn, and I was like, okay, so I have Scorpio, Capricorn, and Gemini. But what are they? I mean, Scorpio, okay, but like where, like, I don't know. So please don't judge me.
That's hilarious. Mel's just gonna probably ask you at some point for your time of birth and like look into your yeah. They're also like a budding like learning astrology as well. So like I think they want to like pick things apart.
And literally, like, without interrupting your introduction too much.
No. Thank you for just like saving me from this moment.
Yesterday night, I was thinking to myself, oh, it's so interesting. I don't know nobody, but is born in between season, astrological season. I was like, how come I don't know even like one person? How is it for them? And everything, like I was literally like on that, and like here you are now. Anyway,
yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so
that's really nice. I don't believe in I don't believe in like coincidences. I just feel like, you know, if you questioned it and then it's happening today, it's also some type of like divination, or you know, maybe a sensitivity to the universe around you.
I feel like Mal was like sensing your energy before you came.
That's really really interesting, actually.
And
so Mimi, what do you care about?
Yeah,
today?
what do you care about today?
I really 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 care about my health. Most of all, that's really a factor that I've noticed that, like, if I don't have that, I cannot just be, so I cannot care for anything else. So my health is the first factor, and in the more holistic approach, like what being healthy means, like not on the physical scale, but also on a mental scale. And so yeah, trying to be better with myself and to find the right tools so that I can be better to others, because my second concern are the others, my loved ones, like people I love, that's who I care about the most, and my environment mainly. Those are like the three factors. So I think it always starts within, and then when it's within, then you can spread it. And once you spread it, then your environment is good.
Yeah, as within, so without, as they say. Yeah, thank you for that intro. Hi, Mal.
Hi.
Would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. Also, I wanted to say, because I have obsessions and it stays in my brain, I said Mimi and instead of Maria, but it's because I've been stalking you too much on Instagram.
Oh, no way.
I'm gonna like stick to Maria from now on.
No, please. I genuinely feel that, like, you know, some people, I've even had like partners like feel comfortable calling me Mimi more than, so it's just like, it's a vibe. So please call me whatever. I mean, whatever. Call me Mimi or Maria. And just before we move on, could I just ask you both also, what do you care? Like, what's at the moment, or just in general, real quick?
This is also part of our introductions too.
But let's start with that, actually. What do I care about today? I think that today is really important for me because I have no way to strip down my thoughts. So I'm thinking about too many things at the same time. So today I'm in bed because I'm sick. So I care about, and I'm hypochondriac, I think. So every time I have like a cold or something, I really experience a near-death experience inside of my body.
I told you I was at my parents'.
But like literally, like Mel was like, I think it was the first day, and you were like, I love you, babe. You know, you just never know. I was like, you have the flu.
So it's something that I'm like learning, number one, to recognize. I'm not yet at like a accepted stage or like, but I'm learning to recognize that. I think it's, so back to like what I care about in relation to that. I care about acknowledging the caring and uncaring environments I'm coming from. And the career responsibilities have been holding on my shoulders, on my tiny little shoulder as a child and teenager and like a growing being, and how it grew barriers for me to now, as a 30 years old person, care for others, or like I'm feeling very, very like threatened when others ask me directly for care. Without like having built like a certain level of intimacy. So for me, when the word care and so on is being thrown around, it's actually it doesn't make me feel comfortable or more at ease. So yes, today I'm caring about staying alive, although asterisk, I only have a flu. So who am I? I'm Mélissandre Varin. I prefer to be called Mel. I think it brings more intimacy. I feel more comfortable. I'm an artist. And yesterday a friend was laughing about the fact that I say that I'm an undisciplined artist, I think. Yeah, it's from Christina Sharp that I took this from, and it resonates so much with me because I've also been oscillating between like multidisciplinary, pluridisciplinary, and at the same time I really never recognized one discipline. It never like sticked with me. So, and I'm someone that tend to be very defiant of rules.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Yeah, I don't know. It was just not made for me, this way of thinking. So yeah, undisciplined I feel very comfortable with. I talk about comfort a lot today. Okay. I'm also someone that is a co-parent of 4 years old, almost a fellow half Scorpio Sagittarius. No, actually, it's just Sagittarius.
Yeah, definitely, just full on.
Yeah. Babe, so yeah, Eol, Sims partner, gang. Who I am? I'm someone that lives in Moseley, Birmingham, in the UK as well. I feel like very Moseley Anne today in my bed.
And your signs?
My signs, okay, saying too much. My signs, I'm a Pisces Sun and double Libra.
Thank you.
Thank you. What about you? Sim, what do you care about? You starting?
Okay.
What do you care about today?
What do I care about today? Today I care about the really crisp late autumn sun. I went for a walk this morning to pick up eggs and a baguette, very Moseley. And also because Mal requested it and because they're sick, they have the rain on what we eat for breakfast. So no shade. And so yeah, I went for a walk and I care about the sun because it's just been raining so much. I care about this edging towards the solstice, and like as the night gets longer, I care about how we honor the night both within ourselves and outwardly as well. I care about how we still hold space for that small pocket of day of sunlight. And yeah, I think also caring about how to balance care when it comes to say like Mel, my partner, and I, and knowing that I want to care, but also knowing I have martyrdom tendencies. So finding a balance. And yes, I am a movement artist, I'm a facilitator, I'm a community worker, yada yada, and I'm an Aries sun, a Pisces moon, and a Sagittarius rising.
Thank you for sharing.
Cool. So extracts time. We'll circle back around to you, Maria, because yeah, we've been doing a lot.
Yes. Okay. But it's been nice. Thank you. It helps also facilitate the conversation.
Would you like to share your extract, Maria?
Yes. And who is it?
So I have recently came across the work of a British Kenyan international artist called Grace Ndiritu. And I stumbled upon her work and it made sense for me. So the quote I'm going to share is from an essay she wrote. I'm just gonna put it out. So the essay is called Time Out. And the quote says, Shaman, okay, first of all, I forgot to precise that like Grace is a writer, shaman, curator. Yeah, so there is a holistic part to her work that is really very, very present. And so moving on to the quote. So it says, shamans act like a gateway. They take a problem from the community and can transcend it. Artists can be like that. Art is powerful. Art is a powerful force, and if you use it in the correct way, it can be really transformative. So that's really, it made sense in a way that I'm also trying to change my approach in relation to what I'm doing at the moment. I mean, I've always worked in a certain way, like my connection to my environment and care around it, but within the DJing, like, which has been my main activity, that sense of care and intention kind of fades away also with time, because you're put in environments of like parties in general, and those are not the most safest environments and spaces. And so I'm trying today to see how I can bring a more holistic approach by using tools that I use on an everyday basis, like meditation, special sounds that use special frequencies, so that the audience can also, you know, like have a great dance. But at the same time, I think sometimes it's important to have those moments where something just happens. And I experienced it in a very, like, in a very intense way once, because I was playing at this super, like, I think it was like a hardcore party in a club, and for a second I think I just put like some Brian Eno, like a very ambient track, to transition towards something else. And there's a girl who came to me and she was crying and she was like, oh my God, thank you, because I was having like the worst time, like I took something and I couldn't. So that allowed a moment of like ease, so that she could come up to me and that someone could hear her also. And so I was like, wow, those moments are so important. So yeah, shuffling back to Grace, like she really she has like a huge institutional critique on racism and spectral practices in the art world. And she's been doing this project called Healing the Museums, because museums, she's trying to establish a more meaningful connection between museums and their audiences, because there's a shift between like what museums are and what type of people go to museums and what type of people have access to museums. So yeah, she also acts as like a for the community. So I think it's everything that I need. Like, that's why this is someone I really, really would love to collaborate with, but just by being around her work is just amazing. It's life-changing.
Yeah, I feel like there's something so nice about like like transmuting energy, but like this level of like sonic alchemy that like you're aiming to do with like your music. So like in a party space, there's so many different moods and energies, and like you don't know what people have taken and like what level they're at, and then the sonic ambience and the music transmutes it into something and puts something out there. I feel like, yeah, there's something so beautiful about that. Yeah,
that's a word, really, sonic alchemy. Like, really, I needed to hear that. Thank you. This gray area of like, I don't even like, it's really hard to express also. Yeah, so that's pretty much.
You got to copyright it.
Thank you.
Oh
I will think about it.
Yeah, we encountered the work of Grace Ndiri too, I think last year or a year and a half ago.
Something like that,
Nice.
yeah.
Because I was told that Grace grew up or was born in the city nearby ours.
Yes, she was born in Brighton or
I thought Coventry.
No idea. Anyways, I'm not
or maybe Birmingham.
Not sure.
We are in Birmingham, so nearby at some point. We're around, and yeah, it was quite transformative to be with their work. And I think that you were speaking to the universe, into the universe, and the collaboration is gonna happen. Grace, if you can hear us.
Exactly. I mean, it's already happening because the inspiration is immense. So we're definitely collaborating on some different levels. She just doesn't know it yet.
Exactly. Oh,
Beautiful.
okay.
Yeah. Shall I read my extract?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking for it. Yes. So this extract is from, it's in French, trigger warning. It's from a book called Combien de solitude by Véronique Canor. Véronique Canor is a Martinican writer, poet, theater maker, but mainly a filmmaker. And I was very fortunate to be mentored by her for filmmaking. And this book won some. It was also, I think I should say, it was published through Présence Africaine.
I was saying I
can't hear you, Maya.
Can you hear me now?
Oh.
Still no? Okay. I was
Yeah.
saying I don't know it, but sorry for interrupting.
That's okay.
Okay. I will send you the reference. So I'm going to read an extract that I randomly selected. And it's so funny because I think a year and a half ago, I didn't have a pen when I was reading it. And usually I just underline stuff or whatever with a pen, but I only had chalk. So it's highlighted in orange chalk. So it's funny to me. So it says, l'automate usé dans la salle de l'aéroport a jeté des cartons, des sacs tatis, des valises. Tôt ou tard, il y eut la mienne. Il y eut un souffle chaud, utérin. C'était noir sur la peau. L'île d'où les parents étaient partis défaire la mauvaise fortune. L'île de mes démons, des abbés, des peaux zébrées, du grand-père qui n'a pas donné son nom, de la maman, de bonne maman, de tonton Marcel, que je n'ai pas connu. Toute cette île-là m'a dit, comptez Vézote, solitude. Du bout des lèvres, j'ai dit, comptez Vézote, Martinique. Ce n'était ni London, ni la Lune. Ce n'était pas loin. And there is a little bit more, but I would like to finish with what comes on the next page, and it reads, j'ai les ongles noirs, j'ai fouillé la terre. Combien de fois à la retourner, à la porter au mur pour combler mes fils. Découcher le soleil, combien de fois à rêver les rêves d'avant, les rails, combien de solitude à l'ouvrage avant la première aube, avant la première repousse. I'm going to try to translate it, at least the first two bits of the second bit. J'ai les ongles noirs. I have dark nails. You know when you literally it says after. J'ai fouillé la terre. Comment on dit? Fouillé.
I searched through the soil.
I can't hear you.
Search through the soil. No, I think
yes.
through the soil.
Yes, searching the soil.
Okay.
So I have dark nails. Nails. I was searching through the soil. How many times did I try to turn the soil, to carry it to the walls, to patch cracks with it? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, apologies for the
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Véronique Canor. Okay.
And it's a different Polaroid. Okay. So I'm going to read an extract from The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House, by the iconic Audre Lorde. I was like flipping through this bridge called My Back. I haven't read the whole book, but I was skipping through, and then I didn't realize it had an Audre Lorde essay. So I was like, okay, I love Audre. So yes, and I sort of like got into Audre Lorde because like a mentor / friend of mine really admired and was inspired by Audre Lorde's work. So I started to read her more. And yeah, I feel like she was really there for me in this like really intense transition of my life a few years ago. Also when I was like in this phase of honoring the longness of the night, you know. I don't think it's necessarily relevant to the text, but knowing that she was there for me in that crux of transition. So yeah, where was I gonna go? Okay. So it says, without community, there is no liberation, only the most vulnerable and temporary armistice between an individual and her oppression. The community must not mean a shedding of our differences, nor the pathetic pretense that these differences do not exist. Those of us who stand outside the circle of this society's definition of acceptable women, those of us who have been forged in the crucibles of difference, those of us who are poor, who are lesbians, who are Black, who are older, know that survival is not an academic skill. It is learning how to stand alone, unpopular and sometimes reviled, and how to make common cause with those other identified as outside the structures, in order to define and seek a world in which we can all flourish. It is learning how to make our differences and make them strengths, for the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us temporarily to beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about genuine change. And this fact is only threatening to those women who still define the master's house as their only source of support. And that's that. I feel like, yeah, for me, it's always just like a nice reminder to come back to. Yeah, remind me like what I'm like striving for and like where I'm going. So that's me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
I'm definitely gonna check out Audre Lorde as well. Like I didn't know about her. I don't even know that much of Black authors actually. I'm starting to read more about to find more authors actually.
Yeah. And Audre Lorde identified herself as a
it was like a
black lesbian
woman poet,
but also a poet maybe as well, but also warrior, because they survived or they beat cancer at some point, and also a warrior for other reasons as well. Definitely, like if you can read some Audre Lorde, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like she spoke a lot about intersectionality and how to get white women to stop with their bullshit.
Period.
But also the beauty of relationships, of like
Yes.
the relationship with that she had with a child or children, with her woman partner. A lot of Black queer beings, they have Audre Lorde as an ancestor.
Yeah, because she spoke a lot about sensuality and
eroticism.
Yeah, eroticism and like loving women, but not necessarily. She was a lesbian, but like loving women not necessarily just sexually and romantically, but how we can all like love women as part of like not necessarily introducing radical change, but just like coming back to the sensuality of like who we are and how we can expand as community and like and what sensuality means for us. That doesn't include how to be exploited, you know, and going back to what fuels us, like what we find pleasure in and how we can indulge in that. Yeah,
pleasure. And I think in relation to your work, Mimi, I think there is a lot about how to be together well in the work of Audre Lorde, that I think you'll be really interested in. I don't know if we said like feminism. Feminism.
Lovely.
Nice.
This is really nice, actually. I need like a book, like reading sessions. This is it's very soothing, actually, as well.
Yeah, it's been so nice. So like as books, sometimes we held book clubs, and yeah, when like most of the book people were present, it's just like it's such a nice communing moment, because not only is there like no pressure to have to like actually read the book, we're just reading the extract from it. And I still think, you know, some people are like, well, you can't get the full context of blah blah, and it's like I don't think you have to. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll just come together, read this, and see how we can relate to it in our own individual ways, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's more for the conversations, but it's not about reading or about the books, really. It's just about being together.
Yeah, as well. So nice.
So now we'd like to know more about you, Maria.
Oui.
We're gonna go to get to know more about you, like to dig deep into your soul.
I don't even know who I am. No, I'm kidding.
Like, well, you don't have to know who you are. It's fine.
I'm just an alien in a suit, man.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use the 3 questions, and you can just feel free to have a trip on those questions and feel like whatever you want to flow with as a way of responding.
Sure.
Yeah. So first question.
Oh, passed on to me.
Yeah.
First question. Who was waiting for you to be born?
Well, first, when I read the question, it really, my mind just went like, pew. And I had the answer immediately in a very weird way, actually. I think myself. I don't know why, but like I genuinely feel that like that's the answer. And I see this question as like a past, but as a future as well, which is very interesting. So I would say myself.
Damn. Okay.
Sorry, you said I could go all the way.
Not though. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. I actually never thought about that question in this sense. Like I never thought that it could be me. It was waiting for me to be born. Yeah. This is a tiny little revolution happening inside of me right now.
When I saw the question too, I was like, what what do you mean?
Yeah. It's so interesting. Yeah, I think we're always looking at the external of like who are the ones around us that are waiting, you know, like who's going to validate our existence, and it's like me, bitch. Oh my God. Wow.
Exactly.
And
you can be born multiple times and wait, what the hell? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. But yeah, I truly believe that you can also be born multiple times, and maybe you have been born already, and it always it was always dependent of you in a way as well. I don't know. But let's just keep it simple.
Beautiful. And as a follow-up is who is holding you tight for you to grow?
So for that, I would say my grandmother, but which I lost in June to like last year. But I generally feel that like she was the one who was just like, even though she was living like super far away in Africa, she was always mending parts of me by sending prayers and good intentions. And so she was always saying that I'm praying for you, and just knowing that was like, okay, there's someone out there doing something, blessing me, protecting me in some way. So I would say my grandmother.
Yeah, I feel like that's so nice. Just that feeling of like knowing no matter what you're doing, where you are, where you're going, there is one that is actively and still actively like holding you tight through sending you like so many well wishes and prayers of protections. Like you're walking around
without ever judging, actually, because in the family, like people, like I have been like split into pieces by, you know, uncles, aunts, my parents, and like everyone was judging me, questioning my life choices, but she was just like, just do you, and I'm just gonna continue praying for you. That's it. So that was nice.
Yeah. Where was your grandmother based?
In Zambia.
I think it's I remember that when we met only once in real life.
Yes, and actually I saw you guys one day. I was in a taxi and I was just passing by and he slowed down and I was just like trying to call you and it just didn't work out. That I was just like, anyway, so we saw each other once. I saw you twice.
So cute. Yeah.
And I remember at that time that last summer was deeply I was grieving and re-grieving stuff, and I remember you flew this way because it was in June during the biennial, remember, and I remember you made the tattoo, and that's how we connected.
Oh yeah, actually. Yes, I had shared that. I think we had this very intimate conversation about grieving as well.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes after a meeting, which was very, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never happened for me, except with you. So
I felt very comfortable and it just felt normal to be able to express how I felt. So thank you.
Yeah, that was such a nice afternoon, just like on a balcony in Dakar, like just sharing intimate stories, like
it was a bit surreal, but it made me think that as you were talking about your grandmother right now, I felt like as if I knew your like even if the conversation was not really long, but it's as if you were talking about someone I knew, because you talked to us in this very tender moment in June about your grandmother, and the fact of having someone praying for you, number one, and praying for you without judgment.
Wow.
Yes, actually, because people like the other side of our family, like she needs to be delivered from like possessed or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So some people like, and I'm thinking then about my grandmother, that is someone that prays a lot and that has a big heart, but also has very like specific visions as to how she wants people in her family to be or to behave, actually. And so for me, at some point, what prayers that are deemed to be like quite positive, I suppose. For me, I receive those prayers as cursed, actually, curses.
Yeah, when someone has a very specific intention of how they want that sent to you, which is exactly what I was thinking, because it's so nice to have prayers that are not tied to anything. It's just like, I want you to be protected and to do well. Because there are some people that are praying for me and I'm like, block
exactly.
it. Block it. Like,
yes. People are like sending in these intentions, and I mean, they're sending their own interpretations also. And I don't think there's prayers can be very tricky, and at the same time, they can be something positive and very negative.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And I was thinking, I never think about pop culture stuff, but so that's why I'm laughing. So I was thinking that in a podcast, I think, or someone at home told us something in this line that I think it was Kendrick Lamar, but I'm not sure. That in a song or in an interview, this artist would have said that their mother or their grandmother, death, will mark the last person that is praying for them. Did you hear that?
Can you come again? That's the death of...
Yes, but the artist saying that after their mother or their grandmother passes away, then there won't be nobody else to pray for them.
That's literally how I feel right now. But I mean, I'm gonna pray for myself, but like still, like just losing that person physically in this world meant that like the protections were not coming from the same frequency, let's say, but like maybe now they're even doubled because they're not anymore like in this realm. But at the same time, the loneliness was intense. That it was more of a sensation of loneliness as well. in the grieving process, because I was just like, I was upset also, because in my grieving, I was like being extremely pissed and saying, why are you abandoning me now? And like, like this is not fair. And then you end up surrendering and understanding that, like, sometimes I think like those prayers can still come back in moments of despair, or just knowing that they have existed and they don't have a date of end, or they're infinite actually.
That's such a beautiful way to look at it. And I was also thinking, like, yeah, I think sometimes knowing that someone who has passed on is now sort of like an ancestor that you can go to, but it doesn't stop that grieving process. Like that grieving still has to happen, because like you say, like that loneliness and leaving the actual physical world is still something that is like, you have to go through that motion. And then at the end of the line, you still know that they're there. Like, yeah.
Let's take like three breaths.
Let's take a deep breath. Yes.
Well, I still want to say this thing, and then I was thinking, because I feel very touched by you in general, but also by what you were saying in relation to feeling this feeling of loneliness now. What's the name of your grandmother? Maybe we could name
Edna.
Edna.
Yeah.
Now that Edna transitioned, and I was thinking that it seems to be important beyond us three as well, to have beings that pray for us in an unconditional way. And maybe I was thinking of like having prayer circles, in a way, like we are like a group of beings that vibe with each other, and we pray for one another without conditions. But something that, because often those groups of prayer are based on religion,
Exactly.
with dogmas, and also very specific ways of what is good and bad, but having still having this like ritualistic ways to be there for one another, to hold each other tight, but tight in a breathable way, Anyway, so I was thinking my brain was going there.
No, I think it's really interesting, because like when you also go back to the practice, holistic approaches in art spaces, right? Like those could be moments that would be perfect to engage this type of, let's say prayer, but like meditation, or sending out intentions to people. I mean, when you come together in these spaces, first of all, I think that all art spaces and like all art structures and venues have a special design also. And within that special design, there's something mystical about it. When you think about the conventional white room, white floors, and if you remove everything, it looks very holy in a way as well. And so it's already very charged. You can interpret it the way you want to. But if you come together and like you can maybe shift the original consciousness or use of the space. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, it makes
like,
sense. And it's so interesting, because like in some aspect of the thing, we actually tried this in October with an artist having like a meditation circle, but it was after a performance.
That's great.
October, right?
Which performance?
I don't know. Should I say it on the
It was okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So there was a performance in October, and afterwards we had like a meditation circle with the artist. And it's funny because it's not funny, because it seemed like a really intense and charged energy that was floating around that we had to like transmute. But like you say, those spaces can. It's good to do those types of things even when there isn't a bad thing happening, or like even prepare for a thing, or like using that space that can be holy. So yeah,
I think it's the perfect transition.
Mhm.
Thank you, Maria, to the third question.
Thank you.
That is, how do we build? What's the question again?
How do we build loving environments in the arts too?
Yes, that's a very, actually, it's very tricky. Like, I mean, it's a very tricky question because it's, I mean, it's a collective work. So where there's collective work, there is you need to I think you need to put in some type of tools within the collective before trying to how can I explain this? Let me come again. Okay, so I'm losing my thoughts are going. I have too many. I'm thinking about architecture, designing spaces for to trigger transitional. Anyways, those spaces should, I think, saying, for example, a meditation per se. Starting with a meditation could be a great tool before engaging in an artistic or just like any social practice where there's a group, because in group dynamics are very particular, I generally feel, especially when you're sensitive. Like for me, if I'm in a group, I just know that I'll have the tendency to like shrink. And so, yeah, like recently I was collaborating with a Chilean architect and researcher and healing artist as well. And the idea is the question comes out a lot actually, how to create, like caring spaces, and it all comes to our consciousness and intention in the moment, I think, and the environment that we're in. So I think the choice of the location, the people, and the general intention of what is going to be put out there are the factors that have to be taken in account before saying that this is a loving environment. Like, look at the environment first and deconstruct it completely and start from scratch by maybe making it by meditating into the space. Or yeah, it's a very tricky question. I'm actually researching on that, so I'm looking forward to have your input as well, because this is what I think it would be amazing to shift towards those spaces. I think I've been saying spaces a lot also. Sometimes I'm tired of spaces, the word space, but it's okay.
Yes, caring environments.
Yes, but I just wanted to finish with this. Like, I genuinely, to go back to before being able to do something for the collective, you have to be balanced with yourself. And so I think that's like the core of the community, and that's how you can create loving environments. Because if the core is a person or multiple people who are struggling with themselves in a very, in a way that can affect others, then, and if it's not put out of transparency as well, because of course, like, no one is perfect, we're all struggling, but like there should be a lot of transparency before trying to build something caring, because there's a lot of mistakes and terrible things that happen in spaces that are supposed to be actually safe, because some people who are having a lot of trauma were not transparent about it, and then they replicate that type of thing and you didn't expect it. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, because literally, and I know in this podcast I think I'm repeating the word like transmute and alchemy, but like before you said your last part, I was literally thinking in my head like knowing that we have the strength, it takes inner strength to be able to transmute an energy and to shift it. And for that, like you're saying, it has to be the internal work to make sure you're showing up to that space. If you wanted to change anything externally or to create this environment, you have to have all of that stuff inside ready to like shift it. And if there's some sort of like imbalance, I mean, we're all imbalanced in some way, but like you're saying, that lack of transparency of where you're at, and like being honest with yourself of like what you can actually give, and like if you have the strength to give at that point in time, because sometimes we can't, and sometimes we just have to pass the baton onto someone else. Yeah, I don't think there was like an end to that sentence, but yeah, I'm glad that you like brought that up.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of nourishment into what you were saying, Maria, because it's that question has been with me for quite a long time, like if it's not forever. And my answer is really like, I don't know how to do that, but I feel an urgency inside of me to contribute to the creation of loving environments in and outside of the arts as well. Because this question is actually from a book by Bell Hooks, All About Love, New Visions. And in this, one of the essay, Bell Hooks makes the point saying that the conditions to love, to be a loving beings, are dependent upon the environment you grow up in. And so for me as a parent, but also as someone that is mothering others, like beyond my own child, and mothering myself, as a like 30 years old, I still need to make sure that I'm stepping into loving environments, because I'm still like a baby when it comes to how to love. So yeah, I do feel conflicted with my like, oh, okay, I have no ability, I don't know how to do it, but I really want to have conversation about it, verbal and embodied conversation about it, because not knowing is not an end point for me. It's an entry point towards experimenting and, growing and expanding. So yes, the point on transparency really like hit me hard, because I'm someone that falls easily into illusions. So if you tell me that you like this and that, and you pretend or you do things in a certain way for a period of time, I'm going to assume that this is who you are or how things are. And often I think I experienced in the past feelings of betrayal or deep. I don't understand what's going on, because of I don't know where I'm going. I'm going because because of lack of transparency. That's why I was starting to say this. But I don't necessarily think that people that are not transparent, or organizations that are not transparent, are necessarily like doing it on purpose all of the time. Sometimes by lack of self-reflection, or lack of accountability tools. Yesterday we're talking about. So that's where the coming together inside of ourselves first, and as a collective is very important, because the task at hand is essential for all of us. Transparency. And I should say also that me myself as well, I've been like someone that has been that has shown lack of transparency, because I didn't know enough.
Same. I just didn't know. I mean,
definitely. Oh no,
Oh no. I was just like reflecting. I have like this flow of thoughts that are just like coming in and out. I'm just like, this is nice.
Just like letting it flow.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm really looking forward to like listening back to all of these, because I think everybody that has spoken has inputted lots of things, probably that some of them that we haven't necessarily considered, and like some that have maybe different viewpoints to us, but everybody has an idea on how we can or can't create these loving environments within the arts. And yeah, I guess like even me, like I think like, I don't know if I know that there are things that I can do as an individual, like you're saying, like doing the inner work. And I don't really know much beyond that. But doing that is helping me to interact with others and how to like hold space and like give care and like all of these things, because I'm in a process of reparenting myself. So yeah, it's like that long, laborious journey, but there are so many nice little nuggets along the way when I've realized like, oh, like now I actually have more strength to hold that space for others, you know? So yeah.
And highlighting also what you said about the importance of rituals, but don't have to be like rooted in religion, because you mentioned meditation, for example. As we like coming together as very different beings with different energies and so on, having a meditation as a grounding point for us to like express ourselves a little bit beyond like ego impulses. Yeah, I think it's very worth highlighting that point. It's very necessary. I wish I could have that every week.
God, same. But yeah, meditating collectively is just like, it's like this common ground. It's just like our minds, either something happens or it doesn't, but it's still, yeah, when you consciously all decide to just sit in silence or stand in silence, it's such an act of it's the extreme opposite of what we do on a daily basis. We're like super active, we're like working, and now we're socially interacting all the time, but we never just like, unless with our close partners, I guess, but we never just like zone out with strangers, you know.
Seen by a ghost, noticed by a spectre, read by the dead, blue ticks glow like will-o-wisp. Seen by a ghost, noticed by a spectre, read by the dead, blue ticks glow like will-o-wisp. I ghost because I'm dead inside and I forget the living, or cause I'm terrified of saying how I'm feeling, or cause I'm paralyzed and can't make a decision, or cause I'm drowning in the swamp of digital existence. Bedridden, smelling like a corpse, hair dipping out of thought, air still enough to form thick walls of distorted silence, avoidant lurking through murky waters. You saw me hiding. What are you hiding from? Look, just reply to one. It doesn't need to be perfect. I see those feelings, you're swerving, you're caught up in emotion. To hold control, you frozen. You feel it in your bones, and although you wish to be open, you know that language is pain. Imperfect container, hurts just a strain for words that can paint. Language is violence, more than implies it. I heard what you said, but fuck a reply, man. I'll be honest, I'm obsessed again. I didn't bother to respond to your text again. I've been overworking till my body was burned, vision was blurred, coping mechanism or curse. Seen by a ghost, noticed by a spectre, read by the dead, blue ticks glow like will-o-wisp. Seen by a ghost, noticed by a spectre, read by the dead, blue ticks glow like will-o-wisp. I ghost because I'm dead inside and I forget the living, or cause I'm terrified of saying how I'm feeling, or cause I'm paralyzed and can't make a decision, or cause I'm drowning in the swamp of digital existence.